Jim Jones isn't holding back this time, and what he said about Kendrick Lamar has fans everywhere talking. In the world of hip-hop, respect is everything, and when a legend like Jim Jones calls out another superstar, you know the streets are about to explode. According to Jones, Kendrick's recent winning talk didn't just hype his own success, it crossed a line, and in Jones' eyes, it went too far. This isn't just a casual opinion. Jim Jones has been around the game for decades, navigating the highs and lows of rap politics, beefs, and label wars. When he speaks, it carries weight. So, for him to publicly challenge Kendrick Lamar's claims of winning isn't just commentary. It's a bold statement that questions the narrative Kendrick has been putting out to the world. Fans are divided. Some say Kendrick's flex was confident and deserved. After all, he's one of the biggest names in rap today. Others are shocked, agreeing with Jones that the talk felt over the top, maybe even disrespectful to the history of hip-hop and the artists who paved the way. But this goes deeper than just words. In hip-hop, every claim, every bar, and every public statement can trigger reactions that ripple across the industry. What started as a simple comment about success could escalate into a full-blown discussion about respect, legacy, and influence. Now the question is, did Kendrick go too far, or is Jim Jones just stirring the pot? And more importantly, how will this impact the streets, the fans, and the culture? The tension is real, and the fallout could be bigger than anyone expects. The tension didn't stop at a single statement. Once Jim Jones called out Kendrick Lamar for his winning talk, the ripple effect hit social media almost immediately. Hip-hop fans began dissecting every past interview, verse, and public appearance from Kendrick, searching for anything that could back up or challenge Jim Jones' bold claim. The streets of New York and LA were buzzing, Twitter feeds filled with clips of Kendrick's latest interviews, while Instagram comment sections became battlegrounds of loyalty and opinion. What makes this so explosive is the context. Kendrick Lamar has long been celebrated as one of the greatest lyricists of his generation, an artist whose influence stretches from Compton to the global stage. His rise has been marked by critical acclaim, commercial dominance, and cultural impact. But in hip-hop, respect isn't just earned through talent, it's maintained through awareness of history, legacy, and street credibility. And Jim Jones, a Harlem veteran, knows this better than most. By calling Kendrick's winning talk excessive, Jones isn't just questioning the legitimacy of Kendrick's claims, he's challenging the tone and confidence that younger artists often project. For Jones, the culture thrives on humility, loyalty, and understanding your position within the rap hierarchy. And while Kendrick's success is undeniable, his words, interpreted as boasting, crossed a line in the eyes of those who value the unwritten rules of hip-hop respect. The debate went deeper than just two artists' perspectives. Fans started comparing the two careers, breaking down influence, street credibility, and the timing of Kendrick's statements. Some argued that Kendrick, despite his accolades, didn't come from the same street-focused environment as Jones, and therefore, his winning talk was perceived as tone-deaf in certain circles. Others pushed back, saying Jones' critique was rooted in generational bias, a clash between veteran authority and modern swagger. Meanwhile, the media quickly picked up the story. Hip-hop blogs, YouTube commentators, and social media influencers all began weighing in, analyzing past beefs, collaborations, and public feuds to determine whether Jones' criticism had substance. Clips of interviews, studio sessions, and award show appearances were dissected line by line, fueling speculation about whether Kendrick had unknowingly offended a respected elder in the game. But this wasn't just about personal opinion, it was about perception. In rap culture, perception drives influence. When an artist is seen as overstepping, it can trigger shifts in alliances, fan loyalty, and even future collaborations. Every comment, every video, every post suddenly took on new weight. Kendrick's words were no longer just about his personal success. They were a cultural event, interpreted and analyzed through the lens of legacy, respect, and power. Jim Jones' timing also amplified the impact. By responding while the topic of winning was trending, he inserted himself into the narrative at exactly the right moment. Hip-hop is a culture that thrives on reaction, and Jones' critique instantly became the conversation's focal point. Fans debated whether it was a strategic move, a genuine concern for cultural respect, or a way to assert dominance in a game increasingly dominated by newer voices. It's also worth noting the history between New York veterans like Jim Jones and West Coast icons like Kendrick Lamar. Though they've never had a public feud before, the clash represents a broader dialogue about generational and regional differences in hip-hop. East Coast artists often emphasize loyalty, street awareness, and consistency over flash, while West Coast stars sometimes project confidence and celebrate personal victories in ways that can seem brash to outsiders. The fallout wasn't limited to fans. Other artists began weighing in indirectly, offering subtle support to one side or the other through social media posts, shout-outs, or cryptic lyrics. Each response, each nod, and each comment added fuel to the growing narrative. Suddenly, what started as one statement became a multi-layered cultural conversation, touching on influence, respect, and the unspoken rules of hip-hop. Even the music itself started reflecting the tension. Fans pointed to recent Kendrick tracks, analyzing lyrics for hidden meanings or potential responses to older East Coast artists. Jim Jones' comments, intentionally or not, reframed Kendrick's work in a new light. Every verse was now part of the story. No track could be taken purely at face value. Analysts, bloggers, and fans alike began connecting dots, speculating on whether Kendrick's words were humble reflection, confident celebration, or an unintentional slight. The conversation even extended into awards and industry recognition. Kendrick's winning moments, Grammys, chart dominance, and streaming milestones were suddenly seen as points of contention rather than unqualified achievements. Jones' critique reframed these accolades, questioning whether success should always be loudly celebrated or if it requires acknowledgement of the culture and the streets that came before. This debate highlights the delicate balance in hip-hop between confidence and respect. Artists must celebrate achievements to assert dominance and stay relevant, but overstepping perceived boundaries can trigger backlash from veterans and peers alike. Jim Jones' comments serve as a case study in this dynamic, a veteran asserting cultural authority, reminding newer generations that the game is as much about respect and awareness as it is about streams and awards. By the end of the week, social media was flooded with reaction videos, memes, and opinion threads. Fans dissected every nuance of Jim Jones' critique and Kendrick's public persona, debating who was in the right, who was out of line, and what this meant for hip-hop culture at large. Some praised Jones for holding Kendrick accountable, arguing that unchecked bravado could erode the values that underpin rap's credibility. Others criticized him for trying to gatekeep, saying that younger artists have the right to define their own narratives. Through it all, one thing became clear: this was bigger than just words. It was a cultural moment, a discussion about legacy, respect, and the delicate hierarchy within hip-hop. Jim Jones' critique of Kendrick Lamar's winning talk had sparked a chain reaction that touched fans, artists, and the media alike, forcing everyone to confront the balance between celebrating success and honoring the roots of the culture. And as the debate raged on, one question remained at the center of it all: would Kendrick respond, either in words or in his music, or would he let the situation simmer, letting the culture interpret and judge on its own terms? In hip-hop, silence can speak as loudly as any verse, and the streets were watching closely. The stakes are high. When a veteran like Jim Jones speaks, the words carry authority, shaping public perception and potentially influencing the next wave of collaborations, rivalries, and artistic decisions. This wasn't just a clash between two individuals, it was a reflection of hip-hop's ongoing negotiation between respect, ambition, and cultural legacy. Fans will continue to debate, dissect, and analyze for months to come. But for now, the streets are alive with speculation, anticipation, and tension, all sparked by one bold statement from Jim Jones, a statement that challenges even the biggest names to consider how far is too far when it comes to claiming you're winning. The streets weren't quiet for long. As soon as the initial shock of Jim Jones' statement settled, fans, rappers, and influencers began dissecting every word, trying to decode hidden meaning. Was Jones trying to start a full-blown feud, or was this a warning shot, a reminder that in hip-hop, even the biggest stars must respect the hierarchy? Either way, the response was immediate and electric. Social media lit up within hours. Clips of Jones' interview were shared across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, each post racking up thousands of views and comments. Fans debated over every angle, some saying Kendrick had gone too far, others insisting he was merely confident, celebrating well-earned success. Yet others argued it was a generational clash, the veteran versus the new school, a story as old as hip-hop itself. Memes flooded feeds, blending humor with tension, mocking the situation but also amplifying the stakes. Meanwhile, other artists started weighing in subtly. Some sent cryptic tweets, others mentioned respect or legends in their captions, indirectly signaling alignment with either Jim Jones or Kendrick. The online discourse made it clear, what began as one statement had snowballed into a cultural moment, forcing the industry to respond. Radio stations, podcasts, and blogs joined the conversation, dissecting Jim Jones' claim and analyzing Kendrick's recent public appearances for possible context. Every award show clip, every interview snippet, every verse from Kendrick was now under scrutiny. Fans went deeper, breaking down lyrics from Kendrick's tracks, looking for subliminal messages or veiled responses. The winning statements weren't just casual bragging anymore. In the eyes of the streets, they became symbolic, representing ambition, confidence, and perhaps even disrespect. Every verse and bar released after Jones' commentary was analyzed line by line, creating an atmosphere of tension where nothing could be taken at face value. Even the media began framing it as a potential feud, despite no official diss or track release. Headlines like Jim Jones versus Kendrick Lamar and Did Kendrick Go Too Far started circulating, further fueling speculation. Every reaction video, blog post, and YouTube clip turned this into a storyline that extended beyond the music itself. It was a reminder of how in hip-hop, perception can be just as powerful as reality. On the ground, in New York and Los Angeles, fans debated the situation in real time. In clubs, car rides, and street corners, the conversation wasn't just about music, it was about legacy. Jim Jones' words carried the weight of experience, while Kendrick's winning narrative represented the bold confidence of a newer generation. The tension between past and present, street credibility and mainstream acclaim, created a dynamic that fans couldn't ignore. Some analysts noted that this scenario perfectly highlights the duality of modern hip-hop. On one hand, artists need confidence and self-promotion to dominate charts and streaming numbers. On the other, respect for the culture and its veterans remains essential, especially in cities where legacy and influence dictate more than just fame. Kendrick's statements, while arguably celebratory, touched on this delicate balance, and Jim Jones' critique forced a cultural reflection. The intensity escalated further when video clips of fans debating the feud began trending. Comment sections on YouTube exploded with opinions, votes, and reactions. Some praised Jim Jones for defending tradition and reminding younger artists about humility. Others criticized him for gatekeeping and holding back the natural confidence that today's artists need to succeed. These discussions weren't just idle chatter, they shaped public perception, creating a viral feedback loop where every post, every comment, and every reaction added fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Kendrick's team remained silent, leaving room for interpretation. In hip-hop, silence can be strategic. Not responding immediately gives the opponent's statement more weight, but it also builds anticipation for future response, whether in a track, an interview, or a public appearance. Fans speculated endlessly. Would Kendrick fire back with bars? Or would he maintain composure, letting his legacy speak for itself? This uncertainty added tension, keeping the story alive in both media and street circles. The situation also sparked discussion among industry insiders. Producers, label executives, and DJs debated the potential impact of such a clash. Some suggested that Jim Jones' critique might actually benefit Kendrick by keeping him in the spotlight. Others argued it could pressure Kendrick to respond creatively, potentially fueling one of the biggest rap moments of the year. The speculation extended to collaborations, album strategies, and even award shows, showing just how intertwined reputation, perception, and business have become in hip-hop. Even outside the United States, the story spread quickly. International fans and media outlets picked up the tension, framing it as a clash between two iconic voices of different eras. From Europe to Asia, social media users weighed in, sharing clips, analyzing lyrics, and debating street credibility. It wasn't just a local or national story anymore. It had become global, a testament to the reach of modern hip-hop culture. As the days passed, commentary videos, podcasts, and blogs explored the history between New York veterans and West Coast icons. They highlighted the cultural context behind Jim Jones' critique, explaining that in hip-hop, confidence must often be tempered with respect for those who paved the way. They examined Kendrick's previous interviews, awards, and public statements to frame the debate, offering fans a deeper understanding of why a single comment could ignite such a widespread discussion. This part of the story also emphasized fan psychology. Social media encourages debate, and in rap culture, debate is currency. Fans are drawn to conflict, dissecting motives, and creating narratives. Jim Jones' critique became a catalyst, sparking endless speculation about intention, pride, and hierarchy. It also highlighted generational dynamics. Newer audiences often idolize confidence and personal branding, while veteran fans appreciate awareness, humility, and respect for history. By midweek, the situation had reached fever pitch. Reaction videos dominated trending pages, memes circulated, and hashtags related to the feud were appearing worldwide. Even casual hip-hop listeners were aware of the tension, showing how a single statement can evolve into a viral cultural phenomenon. The narrative had shifted from simple, winning talk to a full-fledged conversation about influence, authority, and cultural responsibility in hip-hop. The stakes kept rising because every move had consequences. Kendrick's next release, social media post, or public appearance would be interpreted through the lens of Jim Jones' critique. Similarly, Jones' subsequent comments, whether direct or indirect, would reinforce his authority and fuel the ongoing story. In hip-hop, timing, strategy, and perception are as important as the music itself. This evolving drama demonstrated one undeniable truth: the intersection of legacy, confidence, and public perception creates a volatile environment. Hip-hop thrives on tension, conflict, and debate. And when two influential figures like Jim Jones and Kendrick Lamar become the focal point of such tension, the resulting conversation inevitably captivates fans worldwide. In short, what started as a comment about winning became a full-scale cultural debate. Fans analyzed, dissected, and debated every detail, while media outlets amplified the drama, giving the story even greater weight. Other artists watched closely, some taking subtle sides, others staying silent, but observing the lessons unfolding in real time. The streets were alive with discussion, and social media ensured the conversation never died. As the weeks unfolded, anticipation grew. Would Kendrick respond directly? Would Jim Jones double down? Or would the next verse, the next interview, or the next public appearance shift the balance entirely? Fans knew that in hip-hop, the climax came subtly. Kendrick released another track, one with lines that many interpreted as directly acknowledging Jim Jones' critique. Fans dissected every word, every pause, every rhyme scheme, analyzing whether it was a respectful nod, a confident rebuttal, or a challenge. Meanwhile, Jim Jones remained vocal, discussing the track in interviews, highlighting the importance of understanding the nuances of influence, culture, and respect. By now, the story had fully evolved beyond simple winning talk. It had become a narrative about legacy, power, respect, and the delicate balance between self-promotion and cultural awareness. Every fan discussion, media article, and industry analysis contributed to a living, breathing debate. Hip-hop thrives on this energy. It's the foundation of beefs, collaborations, and cultural evolution. Fans also began reflecting on the broader implications. What does it mean when younger artists assert dominance in ways that veterans view as disrespectful? How do legacies adapt when the culture evolves? Is confidence a strength or a potential liability? These questions dominated social media debates, podcast panels, and YouTube analyses, proving that this moment had significance far beyond a single comment. The streets, as always, were the ultimate judge. Local reactions in Harlem, Los Angeles, Compton, and other rap hubs offered real-time feedback. Fans broke down the personalities, histories, and intentions of both artists. They discussed loyalty, authenticity, and credibility, analyzing who had it right and who needed to rethink their approach. The narrative became a case study in how perception, influence, and respect shape modern hip-hop. Ultimately, the Jim Jones versus Kendrick Lamar saga became a reminder that in rap, words have power and silence is strategic. Every statement, every verse, every reaction can ripple across the culture, influencing fans, artists, and the media alike. What began as a critique of winning talk turned into a defining moment, a cultural lesson in respect, legacy, and the ever-shifting dynamics of hip-hop. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: the conversation isn't over. Both artists have left their mark, and the story continues to unfold through fans, media, and music. In hip-hop, moments like these become part of the lore, debated for years, referenced in interviews, and immortalized in bars. Jim Jones and Kendrick Lamar have reminded everyone why respect, awareness, and strategic moves matter as much as talent and accolades. The streets are still talking. Social media still buzzes. Reaction videos are still trending. And for fans, analysts, and industry insiders, the lesson is obvious. In hip-hop, every word counts, every move is observed, and every claim of winning carries consequences far beyond the music itself. This chapter will be remembered as a defining cultural moment, a showdown between experience and confidence, legacy and ambition, tradition and evolution. Jim Jones and Kendrick Lamar may never officially face off, but the tension, discussion, and lessons from this saga will shape conversations for years to come. And that's the reality of hip-hop today. Respect is currency, influence is power, and perception is everything. What started as winning talk has become a story of culture, authority, and the unbreakable rules of the streets, one that fans will continue to analyze, debate, and remember as a pivotal moment in modern rap history.